Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? It's your girl Francesca once again. I hope you're doing fine. If you're seeing this channel for the first time, please subscribe, like, share, comment so that YouTube can recommend my videos, okay? And if you're an old comer, thank you for staying put. God bless you. So today we are sewing this two-piece, but we're starting with the top first. They have one side shoulder and one side off shoulder and the new length. Okay, so you start by folding your fabric into two, just like I've done, and then with your tape you measure. The length I'm working with for this top is 40 inches from shoulder, because this is a 2.5 meters fabric anyway. So I've measured my neck, the neck length and the width. The neck length I went down a little bit. I used 2.5 inches for that, and the width I used 2 inches. And then the shoulder I'm working with is 14 inches divided by 2.7. I'm going ahead to do that, and now I'm getting the shoulder slants by 1 inch, and I'm going to go ahead to mark my shoulder slants. The next is the armhole. I used 8 inches for the armhole. I'm gonna go ahead, rule a straight line and then curve. Okay, that has been done. Now the next is to get my bust to bust points, from shoulder to bust point rather, and that's 11 inches. I'm going ahead to mark a straight line, and then I counted 3 inches for under bust. My actual under bust is also 14 inches though from shoulder, but in case you didn't measure your under bust, just count 3 inches from bust point. That's your under bust. Now the length, like I said, that's me measuring the length. The length I use 40 to 45 inches. Now I'm getting my bust circumference, my full bust circumference divided by 4. I marked and added 2 inches for sewing allowance. The same thing with the under bust. I marked and added extra 2 inches for sewing allowance. So I'm going to connect the lines together now, just like so. And then I draw it all the way down. Now it's time to cut. So if you have watched this video to this point, please give it a thumbs up, okay? So that YouTube can recommend my videos. Thank you. Now because this table is not that long, it's not that wide rather, that is why you didn't see the full length all the way down, but at least you can see a better part of it. So I'm going to go further to trim the shoulder. Okay, I trimmed it more. I now made it 5 inches instead of 7 inches. And then I cut. Now the next thing is to get the style. So I'm going to open this fabric now. Remember the top, one side is off shoulder and one side is with shoulder. So I'm just going to rule it with my chalk and cut off the one side that is off shoulder. So now one side is off shoulder and one side is with shoulder. Okay, now with the remaining fabric, we're going to cut the back of this top. I'm going to have to spread it. I'm also going to fold into two as usual. That has been done. Now I'm going to place the front one on top of it to trace it out. I've also brought out the 1 inch zip allowance. Okay, so this is me cutting it out or tracing it out. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, okay? Also drop a comment. It encourages me to do more. Thank you. So I've divided the zip allowance. Yeah. So this is me tracing out the zip allowance line, so that when I'm sewing it to be easy. Okay. Now the next thing is to spread this back on. Just open it and cut the same design, the same off shoulder, one side off shoulder and one side shoulder we did in the front, that part. Now I'm going to just spread the front part on top of the back part, right side facing right side. Normally you can close up the zip allowance first before getting this style. You can close it off first before going, so that the back and the front top will be equal. But you can also do it this way. So I choose to do it this way before going to my machine, okay? So just make sure that the one side is properly covered, and then go ahead and cut it off. So make sure it's right side facing right side. Right side facing right side. Okay, now I'm going to use bias to fold the neck. And for the front, I'm also going to use my bias to fold the neck as well. And here they are. I've closed up the zip allowance area, and I'm going to head to fold the neck side with the bias. Now the next is to place the front part on top of it. So now both the front and the back part are both equal because I have closed up the zip allowance. Now I'm getting my full measurement, my actual measurement. So my bust measurement is 35 divided by 2. This time no longer by 4, now I divide by 2. So this is me counting it and removing the extra 2 inches allowance I placed when I was cutting it for the allowance. But now this is my actual measurement, okay? So this is me placing my tape to be sure that is the actual measurement. I'm going to go ahead and link it up to my armhole, and then I'll stop here. So when I'm sewing, I will sew and stop here. I'll first of all close the shoulder, sew and stop here, and sew and stop here. You know, it's a side slit, so there's no need to sew it all the way down. Now to the sleeve, because this fabric is not enough, this is just 2.5 fabrics. This is just 2.5 yards of fabric. I'm going to just put short sleeve on one side of the top. I'm just going to make it my own style. Normally it was supposed to be long sleeve because I was trying to recreate the exact one on my display picture. But because I don't have enough fabric, I'm just going to make it my own style. I'll put one sleeve on one hand and then the other one will just be sleeveless, okay? So I'm gonna head to cut out the sleeve. My armhole, my round armhole is 7 inches, but I'm gonna add 1 inch extra allowance. That's sewing allowance, making it 8 inches, okay? Now, this is how to measure your side arm. Side arm. From one end of the arm to the other is the side arm, okay? So this is me, doing it just to show you so you won't get confused, okay? So let's say 8 inches. It's supposed to be 7 or 7.5, but let me do 8 inches just to be on the safe side, okay? So now I'm going to place that 8 inches here. 8 inches divided by 2 is 4, okay? It's 4 inches. Because the cloth is folded, that is why I'm making it 4 inches. If it wasn't folded, you leave it at 8 inches. Because when you open the fold now, you see that it's still 8 inches. Now, the armhole of the dress, you place it on top of the sleeve and trace it out. So that the reason for this is so that the armhole on the sleeve and the armhole on the dress will be equal. Okay? You just do what I'm doing and you will get it. Now, go ahead and cut it off. You see, this is exactly 8 inches, like I said, because I've opened it now. Now I'm going to sew here and fold the edges as well. But let me use pins to make illustration. So this is me pinning that region. Now I'm going to go ahead and open it up and show you how to sew it on the sewing machine. So I'm flipping it up to the right side, and then with the armhole of the dress of the top, right side facing right side, you place the armhole to armhole, and then go ahead and sew it round. Sew it this way, round, and sew it the other side as well. Okay, and then fold the extra rough part. And here it is, guys. This is the sleeve. I've used bias to turn it all up, and this is the sleeveless part. Okay, like I said, the dress wasn't much. It's just 2.5 years. That's why. So this is it, guys. Very simple and beautiful. You're gonna love it. Just so easy. So you can see the shape of the neck. One side shoulder, one side off shoulder. And this is a slit. And I've folded the edges as well. So now we are going to sew the trouser part of this two piece. Okay, now you start by folding your fabric into two, just like so, and then get the length of the trouser. The length I'm working with is 45 inches minus 2 inches for band. Okay, you can see the tape, my minus 2 inches for band. Now my length is 45 inches, but I did 46 for folding allowance. Now waist to hip is 10 inches. I'm gonna head to get the 10 inches. Waist to crotch is 11 inches. In other words, difference between hip and crotch is just 1 inch. Okay, now I'm gonna get our crotch curve, okay, or the crotch length. Now the crotch curve is your hip circumference divided by 16, then you approximate it. So mine is 3 inches. I'm gonna head to mark 3 inches, and then I connected the straight line, and then I curved. Okay, I'm gonna head to curve just to make it more visible. Now I'm getting our new measurement. The new measurement I'm working with is 24 inches. I'm gonna head to mark that, or 23 inches. I'm gonna head to mark that. Now we're measuring our waist circumference. Whatever your waist circumference is, you divide it by 4, add extra 2 inches or 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. The same thing with hip. Whatever your hip circumference is, you mark and add extra 2 inches for sewing allowance. Then I'm gonna head to connect the lines from waist to hip. Okay, so the crotch and waist and hip is in the same place, so there's no need to measure crotch separately. Now the next thing is for us to get the midpoint of this trouser. So from that end to this other end of the crotch line, you fold your tape into 2 to get the half of it, or get the midpoint. Now go ahead and mark with your chalk, and then you rule a straight line. Okay, so how to draft a perfect trouser is in my channel. In case you don't understand anything here, or I'm talking too fast, please just visit my channel. You see I've done a lot of trouser sewing or trouser tutorials, okay, with well detail. They are well detailed. So just I have even pattern drafting, everything is on my channel. So visit my channel and so you can understand it better. Now we're getting our tie line. Okay, from crotch to thigh is 3 inches. I'm gonna head to mark that. This is our tie line. Now it's time for us to get the measurements. We're going to put half here, put half here. So whatever your thigh circumference is, you divide it by 2. Okay, whatever you get, you divide it by 2 again. Put half here and put half here. So for example, my thigh circumference is 30 inches. Half of 30 inches is 15 inches. Okay, go ahead and divide that 15 inches again. That's 7.5. So you put 7.5 here and 7.5 there. But you not put extra 7.5 if you don't want it to be a fitted trouser. So just do like 8 inches or 8.5 for sewing allowance. Meanwhile, this trouser is a free trouser anyway. So I'm only going to measure the thigh. I'm going to measure the knee as well, but I'm not measuring the ankle because it's a mini palazzo. So I've connected the lines from the crotch to the thigh and to the knee. Okay, so this is me now drawing a straight line to join the ankle. So if you want a pencil trouser or a fitted trouser, you're going to measure the thigh, the knee, and the ankle. Okay, now it's time to cut. If you have watched the video to this point, please don't forget to drop a comment for your girl. Your comments are so sweet. I love your comments. and then also give it a thumbs up, okay, so that YouTube can recommend my videos. Thank you so much. Okay, so that has been done. Now we're going to spread the remaining fabric and trace out the back of the trouser. Now for the back of the trouser, the back is usually higher than the front because of the bum. Okay, so I'm going to remove 1 inch. This is me marking out 1 inch where the bum will sit, and another 1 inch for zipper allowance. Okay, so this is another 1 inch for the zipper allowance, and then the crotch line is also longer than the front one. And then for the top side, the up side, just the one where I'm touching now, you have to also go up by 1/2 inch, you know, and then connect it to meet the other point, the side point of the front. Okay, only the crotch side is higher, but the side is the same thing with the front. So we'll go ahead and cut. And if you have watched this video to this point, please drop a comment, give it a thumbs up. Thank you. Now we are done cutting both the front and the back. Now over to our table. So for the front, I'm going to go ahead and attach I'm going to go ahead and, make a dart on the front. And the dart is 5 inches length and 5 inches width. Okay. 5 inches length, 5 inches. I'm going to turn the other side and repeat the same thing. 5 inches length, 5 inches width. You place your tip from the crotch side. And then we'll sew. You're going to sew here and sew here. So this is it. I've also attached the bind. The bind is that 2 inches we minused. I'm going to head to add it up and add it there, okay? And I've sewn this and I've attached the bind, the darts. And I've also done the same thing for the back. So that is the back of this trouser. Now, I'm going to trace out the zipper allowance area. Okay, so this is me tracing out the zipper allowance area of the back so that I can close up the back. Okay. And that has been done. I'm gonna head to sew it, and this is it. I've attached the bind as well. I don't want this video to be so long, that is why I'm rushing, but the full tutorial of how to draft a trouser is on my page. Okay, now we're going to shape this trouser starting from the waist. Remember, we added extra 2 inches when we are cutting, so whatever your waist circumference is, you minus that extra inches we added and go ahead and mark it. I added extra 2 inches. That's why I'm removing 2 inches here and 2 inches here, because the extra 2 inches when the clothes was folded is 4. So now I removed 2 here, 2 here, that's 4. The same thing with the hip. Whatever your hip circumference is, you minus the extra inches you added and mark. Now we are going to just sew it straight. This is a free trouser, so there's no need of measuring the thigh. No need of bringing out the thigh measurement, but I'm going to just bring out just 1/2 inch where I will sew. Just 1/2 inch where I will, take my line straight down. Okay. So it's only going to be tight on the waist and hip region. The rest of it will be free. So this is me taking out the 1/2 inch where I'll just run my line down, okay, and then run the sides. So I'm pinning it so it won't scatter. Now, while we are sewing, we're going to start from here first. Make sure these two are facing each other and are equal. If not, you mess up your trouser. So when you're sewing, always start from there. And yes, that has been sewn. The size, everything has been sewn. And I've attached the zipper. So, and this is the leg. I've closed up the leg with bias. Now let's flip it to the right side. And this is what the right side is. You see, only the waist and the hip side is tight, the rest is not. So this is me wearing it. Thank you guys for watching. See you in my next video. Bye. Please don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Okay, bye.